People get very confused when they try to place me in the map of the economics profession, because sometimes I say sort of Keynesian things, other times I even cite Marx, some other times I talk about Hayek, and actually that's exactly what I am. I mean, I am everything. I have read. I don't have any particular political loyalty, any particular school of thought, and I'll take whatever is good in the different schools. Well, the world has dealt with this crisis better than we did in the 1930s, not least because we've learned lessons from that experience. So the governments were willing to let budget deficits rise. They cut the interest rates to levels that were not seen before. And they also bailed out a lot of financial institutions in order to prevent panic from spreading in the financial market. So all these have enabled us to contain this, well, arguably the biggest ever financial crisis, turning into the biggest ever economic crisis. If you cut these deficits too much, too quickly, then we could push the economy back into recession. But I think in the long run, the greater worry is that not enough has been done to prevent a recurrence of this kind of crisis. Some people, including the current coalition government, think that this should be cut as much and as quickly as possible. But there are distinct dangers that we have already seen in countries like Ireland, that if you cut the deficit by too much, too quickly, you might push the economy back into recession. So the government is taking a big gamble here. A lot of people mistakenly think, and encouraged by the propaganda by the coalition government, that this deficit is mainly due to excessive spending under the previous government. Well, I mean, maybe there was a little bit of that, but the main reason for this deficit is falling revenue, which was caused by this financial crisis. So in that kind of situation, the cutting spending is not addressing the core problem, because the core problem is the recession and the lack of tax revenue. And in the worst case scenario, this might actually increase deficit if these the excessive cuts push the economy back into the bigger recession, and then you have even less government revenue. So actually the result of this cut might be actually an increase in the deficit. The best solution for this deficit problem is to revive long-term growth. If you revive growth, increase tax revenue, reduce the unemployment benefit and other welfare payments that are made necessary by this recession, then you will actually reduce the deficit in a more sustainable way. What is missing at the moment is a debate on how to revive long-term growth. I mean, is Britain going to rebalance its economy towards more, say, manufacturing activities? If that's what we want, do we need an industrial policy? I mean, how are we going to channel the tremendous scientific potential that this country has into business activities and economic growth? The business secretary, Vince Cable, is banging on about the corporate governance reform, so I take it as a very positive sign. But other than that, we are having precious little debate, and that's actually quite worrying for the long term. The creators of exotic financial products should first demonstrate that these products are safe for those who are dealing in them, and then be allowed to sell these products. I mean, what is going on now is that you might regulate certain products, and then they can always come up with some innovation that gets around that problem, and by the time you realize that these are causing problems, it's too late. But I think we need to think in the reverse way. Unless we do something like that, we might somehow get out of this crisis, but there'll be another, well, or two crises waiting for us down the road.